Bonjour Year 8, welcome to lesson 15 and we're on the subject of la Cité de l'Europe, and today we're learning how to use superlatives to say the most or the least. And here's a list of the equipment you will need for today's lesson. You'll need your French exercise book, a pen and a ruler, along with a coloured pen or highlighter for any corrections you want to make or anything that you want to highlight. Also, you'll need the sentence builder grid, which is attached as a PDF on class charts. And also, wordreference.com is the online dictionary, so you'll need this for the later exercises to help you with some translation, perhaps. So this is also on class charts. Open it up in advance. Press pause to do all this now. Press play when you're ready to move on. Thank you for uploading all of your work onto class charts. Please remember to upload evidence of all of the work that you complete in your book in a really clear shot so that I can mark your work and give you feedback on it. Please also make sure that you follow the indicated time for completion of each activity. If you can't finish an activity in the time given, then move on to the next one. I want to see a range of activities in your book, and I want to see each activity numbered accordingly, so it's really easy to follow what you've been doing. If you do have any questions, please email me, and here is my email address. Merci. As always, please copy the date in the top right-hand corner. Copier la date. Underline it neatly in your book. And then copy the title. Copier le titre en français et en anglais. So in French and in English. So, c'est le plus grand centre commercial. It's the biggest shopping centre. And underline that neatly in your book. And then write down the objective, l'objectif, using superlatives to say the most, such as the most pretty, the most cool, etc. Pause to do that now, press play to move on to the do now activity. For your do now, I want you to spend just 5 minutes translating the following sentences into French, and this is work from last lesson. So 1, I went to Europe City. 2, it was really cool. 3, I bought a pretty skirt. 4, there are lots of clothes shops. Pause to do that now. Press play to check your answers. Okay, let's look. You should have written 1. Je suis allée à la Cité de l'Europe. And if you're a girl, then you add the extra E in brackets. 2. It was really cool. C'était vraiment chouette. Or you can say c'était vraiment génial or c'était vraiment cool. All are acceptable. 3. I bought a pretty skirt. J'ai acheté une jolie jupe. And there are lots of clothes shops. Il y a beaucoup de magasins de vêtements. Pause to check those now. Make any corrections in a different colour so it's easy to see where you made a mistake, or tick it if it is correct so we can see it's all correct. Super, merci. Okay, on this sentence builder, we're going to say what we prefer, what we like the best, the least, etc. using superlatives. Okay, so we're going to ask the question first of all. Écoutez et répétez, qu'est-ce que tu préfères? Qu'est-ce que tu préfères? So what do you prefer? So that might be a question that you ask when you're in a clothes shop with a friend and you want to get their opinion. And today we're using superlatives to say it's the most expensive or the least expensive, it's the most cool, the least cool, etc. Okay, you know all of the vocabulary that we have on this screen. I'm just going to practice some sentences with you, so make sure you very carefully listen and repeat what I say. Ce haut est le plus cher. Your turn. Good. Ce jean est le moins cool. Your turn. Ce polo est le plus joli. Ce pull est le moins démodé? Good. Let's do the feminine singular ones now. Cette jupe est la plus nulle. Good. Cette veste est la moins chère. Good. Écoutez et répétez. Cette chemise est la moins jolie. Good. So you'll see that with the superlatives, we have le plus, le moins, for the singular masculine, and then the singular masculine adjectives here. For the feminine, we have la plus and la moins, to say the most and the least. For the plurals, we have les plus, les moins, and here we have the masculine plural adjectives. And to say the most and the least feminine plural, we say les plus, les moins, and then the adjectives are in the feminine plural here. Okay. Écoutez et répétez. Ces collants sont les plus cool. Good. Ces baskets sont les moins chères. Good. Ces chaussures sont les plus jolies. Good. And then finally, ces chaussettes sont les plus démodées. Good. Well done, Year 8. Okay, for this activity, I want you just to write down the French that you hear me say. Okay, pens at the ready. 1. Ce haut est le plus cool. 1. Ce haut est le plus cool. Pause. 2. Cette veste est la moins nulle. 2. Cette veste est la moins nulle. Pause if you need to. 3. Ces collants sont les moins démodés. 3. Ces collants sont les moins démodés. Pause if you need to. 4. Ces chaussures sont les plus chères. 4. Ces chaussures sont les plus chères. Okay, just to note, make sure that you just double check if you've got the correct le plus, le moins, la plus, la moins, les plus, les moins, etc. And the correct adjectival spelling in the singular, feminine, masculine, and then the masculine plural, masculine, feminine. Make sure they all match your item of clothing and its gender, and if it's plural. Merci. Okay, time to check your answers. So, numéro 1, ce haut est le plus cool. Okay. Make sure you've got the le here. 2. Cette veste est la moins nulle. Okay, make sure that you have the la, because veste is feminine here, and that nulle is spelt double L-E. Très bien. 3. Ces collants sont les moins démodés. And we know that types, we need les for the masculine and plural. And démodé must have an E accent S on the end because it's masculine plural agreement. And finally, numéro 4, I said, ces chaussures sont les plus chères. So make sure you've got the plural les for the, and then cher, because shoes are feminine plural, has the E accent R-E-S spelling. Très bien. Pause if you need to, correct, and then let's move on to the next activity. Merci. Okay, Year 8, I would now like you to translate the English I say into French, so just write the French. Pause as much as you need to. Number 1, this pair of jeans is the most expensive. That's number 1. This pair of jeans is the most expensive. Just write the French. Pause if you need to. 2. This shirt is the least pretty. 2. This shirt is the least pretty. 3. Pause if you need to again. These tights are the most cool or the coolest. 3. These tights are the most cool. We might say the coolest in English. Pause if you need to for that one. 4. These trainers are the least pretty. 4. These trainers are the least pretty. Pause or rewind if you need to, and then when you're ready, press play to check your answers. Okay, now time to check your answers. Let's look at what you have. So, numéro 1, this pair of jeans is the most expensive. Make sure you wrote ce jean est le plus cher. Okay, so we need to have the le there to say the most. Cher, expensive, must be in the masculine form, C-H-E-R. 2. This shirt is the least pretty. Cette chemise est la moins jolie. Make sure shirt being feminine, it's la here, the least, and then jolie has an E on the end. Good. 3. These tights are the most cool or the coolest. Ces collants sont les plus cool. So this is all masculine, plural, for the and for cool. And then finally, 4. These trainers are the least pretty. Ces baskets sont les moins jolies. Remember, basket trainers are feminine plural, so we use the les for the. This is least, and then pretty must have the es on the end. Okay, highlight anything where you made a mistake and make the correction to it. Press pause to do so. Press play when you're ready to move on. Okay, Year 8, I want you to put your pens down now and to listen really carefully what I'm going to tell you about the rules for creating the superlative. So put your pens down, pause if you need to get yourself settled and to get yourself listening carefully. Okay, so for the superlative, we use this when we're comparing more than 2 nouns. Because when you're comparing just 2 nouns, you use comparatives like we learned last lesson. This skirt is less expensive than this jumper. Cette jupe est moins chère que ce pull. So for comparing 2 items, we're going to use comparatives like we did last lesson. However, we use superlatives to compare 3 or more nouns. So the superlative is the cheapest, the prettiest, the most expensive, the least interesting, for example. So to create a superlative, we're going to use either le plus, la plus, or les plus to say the most. For the masculine, singular, le plus. For the feminine singular, la plus. And for the masculine or the feminine plural, we're going to use les plus. To say the least, we're going to use le moins, the masculine adjectives, la moins for the nouns which are feminine, and les moins for the plural nouns. Okay? And we then have to use the correct form of the adjective depending on whether we're describing something that's masculine, feminine, singular, or plural. Okay. So, for example, to say the prettiest, we're going to say le plus joli if we're talking about a masculine noun, La plus jolie for feminine noun. Les plus jolies for masculine plural nouns. And les plus jolies with the es matching of the adjective for the feminine plural. Okay, and for the singular feminine we have jolie spelt with the e on it. Okay, so it must agree in gender and in number. Got some irregulars for you now. So to say the best, we use a different word completely. So for a masculine singular noun, we use le meilleur. For a feminine singular noun, we use la meilleure, which looks the same, but it's la, with an e on the end for meilleur. For masculine plural nouns, we're going to use les meilleurs, which just adds an s onto the singular. And that's for masculine plural. And then for feminine plural nouns, les meilleurs, we're just going to add an s on to the feminine singular to get les meilleurs. So that must end es. Okay. Then, if you want to say the worst, that is also irregular, we're going to use a different word again, which is le pire, when we're describing a masculine singular noun. La pire, spelt the same for a feminine singular noun. And les pires for both masculine or feminine plural nouns. We use the same one for that. Okay, rewind if you need to listen to that example again. But what I'd like you to do now is to copy the rule neatly into your book. So take your time, use a highlighter pen where necessary, or different colours like I have done to highlight the different points. Okay, pause to do that now. Press play when you're ready to start practicing using the superlative. Okay, Year 8, for this activity I've got a series of jumbled up sentences which are all superlatives. What I want you to do is to put each sentence into the correct order, and please use the English translation to help, because these are pieces of vocabulary that we have had throughout the course of the year but you might not remember them, so the English should really help you with that. Let's have a look at the example together. Example, la ennuyeuse, la c'est matière plus. So it's the most boring school subject is the English, and we unravel that and it becomes c'est la matière la plus ennuyeuse. So make sure that for the start of it, they all follow the same pattern. So they're all going to start with c'est le or c'est la if it's a feminine noun, and then after that it's going to have either le plus or la plus or le moins or la moins. And then it's going to have the adjective at the end. Okay, so we've got c'est la and then the noun, or c'est le and the noun, and then it's going to either be la plus for a feminine noun with the adjective at the end, or for a male noun it's going to be c'est le and the noun's name, le plus. Okay. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to do that, and then when you're ready, check your answers. Merci. Time to check your answers. 1. C'est le pull le plus démodé. It is the most unfashionable jumper. 2. C'est la maison la plus moderne. It's the most modern house. 3. C'est l'émission la plus amusante. It's the funniest or most amusing program. 4. C'est le film le plus populaire. It's the most popular film. 5. C'est le portable le plus cool. It's the coolest mobile phone, or mobile will do. 6. C'est la fille la plus sportive. It's the most sporty girl, or it's the sportiest girl. And finally, number 7, numéro 7. C'est le meilleur livre. It's the best book. Okay. Check your answers, make any corrections in a different coloured pen, and when you're ready, press play and move on to the next activity. Merci. Okay, your final activity should take 10 minutes. I want you to both copy the English and then translate the sentences into French for me. Please note that the words best and worst are irregular, so check back at your grammar note to translate those. Pause to copy the English and translate into French and press play to check your answers. Merci. Let's check your answers. 1. Cette chemise est la moins chère. Make sure that cher is correctly written and that you've got la there as well. Good. 2. Ce jean est le plus cool. Make sure you've got le here. 3. Ces collants sont les moins chers. Make sure you've got les, the plural, and cher, masculine agreements there and plural. 4. Ces baskets sont les plus démodées. So you make sure you've got les, the trainers, and you've got the feminine plural ending of es on démodé. 5. Cette jupe est la moins nulle. Make sure you've got la for the skirt and nul spelled N-U-L-L-E. 6. Ce pantalon est le meilleur. Okay, make sure you've got the correct spelling of meilleur, le meilleur. Good. And ces chaussures sont les pires. Okay. And then finally, number 8, ces collants sont les plus jolis. Collants, we have a masculine plural, so make sure you've got the les and then the masculine plural ending. Pause to check all that now. Correct in a different colour or give it a big tick. Okay, pause and then press play to go to the end. Merci. Well done, Year 8. Thank you for working so hard this lesson. Please remember, take a photo very clearly of all the work you've done in today's lesson and all your corrections so we can mark your work really well and give you a very well-deserved achievement point. Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.